recording this.
Time and technology.
Time and technology. Time and technology are two important factors which convert the substances into resources. Okay. Now, can you give me one example here? Time and technology. Yes, Piyush only. Piyush will raise hand. Anybody else? Tanishka, you answer. Tanishka Suryavanshi. Give me an example how time and technology convert a substance into a valuable resource. Tanishka, can you answer the question, beta? Anybody?
Ma'am, the time wood was used means resource. Some things were used to make wheels, and because of technology,
Invention
new
of
things
wheel.
were invented.
Yes, when for example, invention of wheel, what happened was when wheel was invented, it was a technology which was invented, and using with the invention of the wheel, we had the ultimately it resulted in the development of a newer resource, which was the modes of transportation. We had the bullock carts earlier. People did not know how to travel quickly, at a if you want to travel from one place to another, earlier it was very difficult without any modes of transport. But with the invention of wheel, it ultimately led to the development of the newer mode of transport. Similarly, when we talk about technology, we have used water. We have used waterfalls for making hydroelectricity. So that is another way. These are two examples of how time and technology, with the coming times, the new technology develops, new discoveries happen. Discovery of fire. It was a discovery how fire was discovered by, when two stones were stuck with each other, and then the fire was invented. It was discovered, and this way new discoveries and inventions, they lead to further new developments and conversion of substances and objects into resources. Now everybody remembers the flow chart, children. Everybody remembers the resources flow chart.
Yes.
Okay. Now
Yes,
I will
ma'am.
ask one by one. You will just raise your hands about the resources. What are the three major categories of resources? Okay, Supriya, you answer this question.
Human-made, human resources.
Why others are answering? Only when I will ask one student, only that student will answer. Yes, Supriya.
Natural resources, human resources, and man-made resources.
Very good. Natural resources, man-made resources, and natural resources, man-made resources, and third one is human resources.
Human-made resources.
Okay. So now when we talk about natural resources means the resources which are naturally occurring. Okay. Now, what is the give me example of resources classified into groups depending upon their level of development and use.
Actual and potential.
Actual and potential. So who has answered this question? Now, actual and potential resources are on the basis of degree of development and use. How much development has happened of that particular resource. Okay. So now Shravani will answer, what do you understand by actual resources, and with example.
Ma'am, actual resources are those which like we have used them.
Okay.
And potential resources are like we have not used them like up to its capacity.
Optimum level. So actual resources are those resources which we are already using, or which we have already discovered, invented, and we are presently using, and we know the quantity also known. Okay. For example, can you give me an example of actual resource which we are already using? Things around you which you already are using. Fossil fuel is one example which has been discovered. Natural gas, yes. Then
Yes.
coal. Coal is a mineral
Coal,
we are
yeah.
using. So these are the things which we have already discovered and we are using also. Okay, so these are actual
Yes.
resources, and most of these resources are being used to their optimum level. Okay, that is an actual resource.
Yes, ma'am.
Even your things of everyday need. For example, you're using paper. Paper is made from trees. It is also an actual resource. You're making use of that. Paper is made from the bark of the tree, so that is an actual resource. So now, on the other hand, potential resources are those resources which haven't been used to their optimum level. So please give me one example of a potential resource.
Ma'am,
Uranium.
wind and
Solar energy.
wind.
Solar energy, wind energy, even nuclear
Uranium.
energy and
Uranium.
tidal energy. Many countries are
Tidal
using
energy.
tidal energy for
Hydro energy.
generating electricity.
Uranium.
But even uranium, it's found in Ladakh. Yeah, this example has been given in your book. Solar energy, still we haven't been able to use it to its optimum level to generate electricity. Similarly, wind energy also haven't been used. Wind and tidal energy. So these are known as potential resources because we haven't been able to utilize them to their optimum level. Now, natural resources on the basis of origin. Please
And
raise
coal
your
also.
hands. Nobody will answer in chorus. No answer in chorus. I will ask a student and only that student will answer. Hitesh will answer the question on the basis of origin. What are the types of natural resources on the basis of origin?
Yes, ma'am.
On the basis of origin, the categorized natural resources. What are the categories of?
Ma'am, abiotic,
Yes, abiotic and
abiotic, biotic.
abiotic and biotic. Very good. These are the two types of natural resources which are categorized on the basis of origin. Now, Hitesh, can you let me know what is the meaning of abiotic and biotic?
Ma'am, abiotic means living thing.
It's the other way around, beta. Biotic is living things. Okay,
Oh,
things which
sorry,
are
ma'am.
organic. Biotic is you know biodiversity. We talk about biodegradable fuels, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah. So when we talk about biotic, it means all the living organisms, all the living things, even trees, microorganisms, they are biotic. On the other hand, abiotic is the opposite of biotic, which is not living. For example, minerals, rocks and minerals. Yeah, the things around you which are abiotic.
Yes, ma'am.
So on the basis of origin, the natural resources have been divided into abiotic resources and biotic resources. Now, give me one example of a biotic resource and abiotic resource.
Biotic resources are
Living things.
plants,
Okay, very good. From plants, you get so
living
many
things.
things. Yeah, living things, but you cannot give living things as an example. You can say trees. Trees give us paper. So it is a biotic resource, right? Now, on the other hand, give me one
Biotic.
example of abiotic. Give me one example of abiotic resource,
Abiotic,
which is non-living.
uh,
I just mentioned rocks and
ma'am,
minerals.
rocks and plastics.
Plastic is okay. You can say
Ma'am, plastic.
Plastic is abiotic, but then you can give example of minerals like coal. Yeah, so that is
Ma'am,
coal is a
petroleum,
mineral. It is non-living, right? Petroleum. Yes, these
Yes,
are
ma'am.
abiotic. They are not living things. All right. Okay. So this was these are natural resources.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
categories of natural resources on the basis of origin is abiotic and biotic. Now, on the basis of distribution. Now, Rutuja, please answer on the basis of distribution. In how many categories natural resources are divided? On the basis of distribution.
Localized and ubiquitous.
Localized and ubiquitous. Very good. Localized resources and ubiquitous resources. Localized resources which are depending upon the location, the climate, the geography, the topography of a place, a mineral or a substance is found. That is a localized resource. For example, in the Chota Nagpur Plateau in India, you have coal reserves. Okay, so that is why the Tata Iron and Steel industry was established in this region only, right? Similarly, the oil reserves are there in Saudi Arabia, so that is a localized resource. It is a local resource of that particular area. Now, give me one example of a ubiquitous resource and give the meaning of a ubiquitous resource.
Ma'am, the resources that are found all over the world are
Very
known
good.
as ubiquitous
Yes.
resource. Example, air, oxygen.
Air, water, yeah. So these are ubiquitous resources. Oxygen, these are found everywhere in the world. So they are known as ubiquitous resources. Now, next question is divide natural. Yes.
Ma'am, plants can also be ubiquitous resources.
Plants are not found everywhere. What about the frigid zone? We have forests of different kinds, different types of forests. Think of the three heat zones of the earth: torrid zone, temperate zone, and the frigid zone. Yeah. So we have to mention a resource which is available to everyone everywhere. Of course, the population is not there much there in the frigid zone, but we are talking about anything which is available everywhere. Things which are available everywhere. Yes. So you can give the best example is air, oxygen, which is very much essential for life on the earth. Water. Okay. All right. Now next is next question. Who will answer?
Based on utility.
No, you don't speak right now. Based on stock. Based on stock. Arya Pole, can you answer this question? Aishwarya, yeah. Okay, Aishwarya, answer this question. On the basis of stock, how much availability is there? Natural resources are divided into two further categories on the basis of availability or stock. Aishwarya, please answer this question. Aishwarya, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, on the basis of
Yes,
stock,
ma'am.
बताओ बेटा. Stock or availability. एक का ही हाथ ऊपर हुआ है अभी इसके लिए. Sanika, can you answer this question?
Ma'am, can you repeat the question?
On the basis of availability or stock, the natural resources have been further categorized into two more categories. What are they? Availability of resources or stock or storage, we can say. Aishwarya, Supriya, anybody can answer. Omkar.
Ma'am, renewable and non-renewable resources.
Very good. It is renewable and non-renewable. You may get a question like this: on the basis of stock or on the basis of availability, divide the natural. What are the two categories of natural resources? So that would be renewable and non-renewable resources. So now, Omkar, can you differentiate between renewable and non-renewable resources?
Ma'am, renewable resources are those resources which get renewed or replenished quickly. But ma'am, non-renewable resources are those resources which may have a limited stock. Once the stock gets exhausted, so it may take 1,000 of years to renew or replenish.
Or it may not replenish again. So can you give example? Give
Yes,
one
ma'am.
example. Yes.
Ma'am, renewable resources we can say, ma'am, solar and wind energy.
Solar and wind energy.
Water.
Rather, you should say on the basis of
Water or-
stock. See, for solar and wind energy is always available. If we are talking about for things which
Yes,
we
ma'am.
have a stock of.
Yes,
For
ma'am.
example, fossil fuels, right now we do have the stock of fossil fuels like natural gas,
Yes, I-
petroleum. But then once it gets over, then we don't have another stock. It will take thousands of years to get replenished. So it is a non-renewable resource. But on the
Ma'am,
other hand, water is a renewable resource. The water cycle, know that water gets replenished. Right now, you can see that there was a lot of climate change because of global warming, because of a lot of pollution. And now these days, when we all are staying in a lockdown, we can see good changes in the weather. The weather has improved. Okay, so now the ozone is getting back to, we have observed that there is improvement in the climate, and the holes in the ozone layer are getting closed now. So these are some, even ozone is a gas, you already know. So it is getting renewed or replenished again. Okay, so these are, it is an example of a renewable resource. And for the best example for renewable resource is soil. Okay, you need, for agriculture, you need a good soil, fertile soil. But if you keep on growing crops every year, then what will happen? The nutrients in the soil will get exhausted.
Minerals in the soil will get exhausted.
So now what you will do, you will leave the land for some time. You will leave the land idle for a few years, so that the nutrients in the soil, they replenish back in 1 or 2 years, 3 to 4 years. And then when you grow the crops again, the crops will be healthy. Okay, so this was a very good example of renewable and non-renewable resources. Okay, now next is, we have covered all natural resources. This is one of the most important. Then what is the second category? What are the man-made resources? What do you understand by man-made resources?
Which are made by human beings.
Very good. Give some examples.
Roads,
Roads, machinery,
table, chair,
Bridge.
Yeah.
Bridges. Buildings.
Okay, so these are human resources. So human resources refer to the number, quantity, and abilities, mental and physical, of the people. Though there are, okay, I'm so sorry, this is human made. This is not human made, this is human resources. So human made resources are things which humans have made using their skills, their intelligence. Okay, so they are human made resources. It is very easy to give example of human made resources. Now, what are human resources? Third category.
The best example of human resources are people.
Yeah, of course. We are how the human resources, humans become resources. We become resources
Because they have the ability to extract value. They can make the best use of nature to create things.
Okay, very good. Now, what do you mean by sustainable development?
Balancing the need to use resource and conserving them for future.
Very good. So sustainable development means balancing the utilization of the present resources and preserving them for future, so that there is ongoing development, ongoing process of saving the resources for the future generation. So when we talk about resources conservation and sustainable development, it is very much important that we use our resources very carefully, so that our future generations also can utilize them. Okay, in your test also I asked you this question, some principles of sustainable development. Please let me know. Raise your hands. Who's that? Tanmay. Okay, yes. You can let me know the principles of sustainable development quickly. Who wants to answer? Quickly answer. We don't have much. Yes. Prisha, you want to answer? Yes, Prisha, you can answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, respect and care for all forms of life.
Okay.
Conserving the earth's vitality and diversity.
Very good.
Enable communities to care for their own environment.
Very good.
Minimize the depletion of natural resources.
Very
Change person attitude and practices towards the environment.
Okay, and one more is
improve the quality of human life.
These are the 6 main principles of sustainable development. Okay, children, you may get questions on differentiate between ubiquitous or localized resources. I hope I have covered all the important different types of resources. If you get a differentiate between renewable and non-renewable, you should be easily able to answer that question. Now, my next question is, why are resources distributed unequally over the earth? What is the reason? Who would like to answer?
Ma'am, due to the climate and geography and topography.
Different topography.
Is the reason, and and location of the of certain places for depending upon the where the place is located, whether it is in torrid zone, frigid zone, or temperate zone. That is why the resources are distributed unequally over the earth. For example, the localized and the ubiquitous resource. Okay, what is resource conservation? We have done that. Why are human resources important? Neha, you can answer, beta. You can answer this question.
Yes, ma'am. Can you repeat the question?
Why are human resources important?
Because ma'am, human themselves are the most important resource because it is their ideas, skills, and knowledge, technology.
Okay, their
Ma'am, because
ideas, skills, and knowledge that they are able to convert the substances into resources. They discovered new things. They have invented new things. It is with their intellect that they have discovered and invented many new things, which had led to the conversion of substances into resources. Very good. Okay, now we have done what is sustainable development. Differentiate between potential, actual. We have done. Okay, now we are done with the revision of this particular lesson, children. And now we are left with how many minutes? Let me see. We have 4 minutes left. Let me just quickly, let me see if the video is working. I'll show you the video also. I'm sharing the screen. So we are done with the geography lesson revision today. And let's see if we can watch this video. We have watched it. Half of this video we have already watched yesterday. I guess it is not working. Let me quickly. Okay, now it started working. Okay, now I'll quickly show you the slide where I have for the history lesson. Let's do a quick recap of what we have done so far. For history lesson number 2, we have learned about how the disintegration of Mughal Empire after the death of Aurangzeb led to the rise of new kingdoms and empires. Also, new political power emerged by the second half of the 19th century. Which new political power it was? It was the British East India Company. I hope you all are listening here. Yes, they came
Yes,
here and they were the new political power in India. Okay, now we have also done this activity on observation of map. We have done it in the video also, how eventually by the year 1857, 63% of the Indian territory was under the control of the British East India Company. We have seen this, we have done this activity on Bahadur Shah Zafar being arrested after the War of 1857. This was the beginning of the lesson. Section 1 we have covered. Please make sure, children, that you do write and learn the chronogram of the lesson. It is very important. 1680 is the year when East India Company acquired the charter to trade with India and its sole right. I have already explained what was the reason of how they became successful in becoming the most powerful trading company in India. Okay, and they
Ma'am, you have muted yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
We are
Muted.
not able
Yes,
to hear.
ma'am, you have muted yourself.
Yeah, now can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is the route to India in the
Yes,
18th century. We have done that. Now we quickly come to the how the company began trade in Bengal, and we have also learned about the policies that the British East India Company followed to gradually acquire territories in India. Initially their main purpose was trade and commercial activities with India, and to sell the finished products here and acquire raw material, and that led to the setting up of factories and forts initially in Bengal. Initially 3 villages they acquired, and one of them was called the present day Kolkata, and which was earlier a village, and then eventually it emerged as an important city in Bengal. Then how the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb issued a farman for a duty-free trade. We have covered this also.